Further customizing your collection map. In the last video, we went and created a map specific to the region by doing a save as and just changing the bookmarks and the extent of the map. Now we'll add some additional data. That map that we saved still has our mission data being fed into it, and we changed the base map in there from a regular map to a USGS topographical map in there. What we can do now is we can add our additional data that we've harvested from various sources. So we can add some points data, such as recreational sites in the area. We could add some line data. This might be streams. It could be local trails. It could be local trails that you've mapped with your GPS and you have GPX files available. Also, it could be polygons, and polygons could be lakes, or they could be boundaries, recreational boundaries or jurisdictional boundaries. So we'll show you how to add some of those to your map to customize it. I've gone to the Mount Hood National Forest Data Library. I just did a Google search and found some information for Mount Hood. If we go down through here, they've got a lot of different things available to us. Some might be useful, some maybe not so useful. But something like recreational site points, that might be a useful layer to have. It'll show trailheads, campsites, and other information that would be useful to have on the map. There's also some water sites in here, so we have streams which we can load in, and we have some boundary information in here, such as the Forest Service boundaries. In this particular site, it's pretty easy to download. You just click on Export File and save it right to the desktop. I've saved some of these files already just to save you the pain of watching me download them. I'll show you what it looks like. In my downloads file, I have 3 zip files. I have the streams, the recreational sites, and the ranger district. And these are zipped files, and for this, we'll just remain and leave them zipped. We don't need to unzip these at all. I'll change my tab in my web browser back to my logged in account. Again, this was the home page of the Mountain Rescue Association website. I am logged in with my training account. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to my content. In my content, I have the map that I created earlier. And this was the customized map for Portland. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Once this is open, we can start to take a look at how we're going to bring in the additional data. We have this topographic map that we put on the background, but just for ease of sharing my screen, of you seeing the data, I'm going to change the base map right here, and we'll change it just to a light gray background, and that just makes it easy when I add the points to the map for you to see on the video. Under Add, I've got several different options for adding different layers of information to my map. I can search for layers, I can browse on the web, I can browse in other ArcGIS online organizations. For this exercise, because we've downloaded the data to our local machine, I'm going to do Add Layer from File. It's going to ask me where it is, so I'll browse for that data, and it's in my Downloads folder. Let's start with the recreational sites. I'll click the zip file, click Open, and then just Import Layer. This is going to bring that information into my map. As you can see now, I now have all those points of information from the recreational site on my map. If I click on any of these points, I do get a pop-up containing some information about that particular point. It's fairly useful at this point because we've actually added information to our map, but let's see if we can make it a bit more useful, cleaning it up a little. The first thing you can do is just click on the little arrow next to your layer here, and we can rename it and we can give it a little bit of a better name. And we'll just call it Recreation Points. If I click on the layer itself, you'll see that it's all symbolized by one orange dot. We can change that because we know there's different types of points in here. We'll go down and configure and change symbols. For this particular data set, rather than using a single symbol, we'll use unique symbols, and we're prompted to select a field. From the fields, we're going to use the subtype. I just happen to know that's the campground horse camp, picnic site, and trailhead. So we can color code these, or we can give them more meaningful symbols. So for campground, I can just click on the campground and it'll come up with some basic symbols which we could change. So we could make campgrounds all red stars, for instance. Um, but we've got some other choices here, and there is actually an outdoor recreation layer. So for campgrounds, it might be kind of nice to make tents campgrounds. This is size 0.8, which is fairly small. For demonstration purposes, I'll make it larger so we can see what tents will look like. And let's choose another one. Let's choose trailheads, and we can change the trailheads right here. And we've got picnic site, so we can choose something appropriate in here, maybe for a picnic site. What do we have? I shall arbitrarily use a picnic bench. There we go. Perfect. So once I'm done symbolizing, and I don't know where a horse symbol is off the top of my head, so we'll leave that for later, I can click Done Changing Symbols. Now you see how the map has changed, is that I've got different symbols for each point now. So I have trailheads, picnic sites. If I use the same trick of holding down the Shift key and dragging a square, I can zoom in. So now I can see some of these informations on the map, and you see I can click on any of these and still get that same pop-up information. I can go ahead and modify this pop-up as well to be a little bit more interesting. I can go ahead and configure the pop-up. In here, this is the title of the pop-up. So when I click on any of these pop-ups, that's what comes up right here. And that is actually probably quite useful in this one, is the name. But some of this other information, like FID, doesn't mean much to me. So I can just configure the attributes and turn these off. If I want some of the other information, we can choose to turn those on or off. And as you see, as I modify these, oops, I needed to click Save Pop-up. As you modify these, I'm now eliminating some of that noise that's not in there. So we can probably take out angle, polygon ID, and just leave maybe status and the subtype in. So we'll just go ahead and configure that pop-up a little bit more. And this works for any pop-ups anywhere. Exactly the same information works here. So we'll take that out and some of these other ones out. So that was easy enough just to bring that in. If I zoom back out again, you can see that how those are all depicted on the map. And it's easy to turn them on and off. You have a checkbox right next to that layer, and that turns those on or off. Once we're done, I will zoom back out to an overview of the map. I'll remember to put the base map to whichever base map that I wanted. And once the map's looking like you want, and whether you want these on or off by default is up to you, you can just go ahead and save that. And now we have recreation points added to our map. In the next step, we'll go ahead and we'll add those stream layers and those boundaries and see how best to configure the symbology for those on the map.